Welcome back. You're watching Dealing Room. Bank earnings, private bank earnings specifically is what we are focusing on. So let's quickly go across to Siddarth Purohit from Angel Broking and take a quick review from him. Siddarth, let's start off with the most important of them all, HDFC Bank. What are your expectations from there? We've seen more or less a stable growth, almost around a 20% growth from HDFC Bank quarter after quarter. Any exceptions this time around?
I think as far as the growth is concerned in terms of deposits and advances, I'm not expecting any moderation as such, and possibly we will end up seeing 20% kind of loan as well as deposit growth for this quarter also. What is more important to see is that last quarter they saw some incrementally higher slippages compared to what traditionally they had been witnessing. So there was almost a 9 to 10 basis point jump in your gross NPA. So I believe that was kind of little bit seasonal, and possibly we should see some moderation on that. If at all that absolute number of absolute change in GNPA increases to large extent, that will be concerned, which I don't think will happen in a major way. So as far as asset quality is concerned, I believe that more or less it will remain stable. On the loan growth side, they should be able to do much higher than industry growth rate what they had been delivering, and which should in fact reflect in your NII growth of close to 20%. And fee income and other income, I think, will continue to be strong for this quarter again. So net, I believe that they will end up doing something around 22% growth for this quarter on a YY basis on the bottom line front.
Accounts, it could be another steady quarter from an HDFC Bank. The big one to watch out for over there, Siddarth, of course, Axis Bank. From our estimates, net interest income seen growing by about 12%. Margins may contract slightly. Profits seen down by about 14%. And of course, there's the all-important stressed asset watch list. What are your expectations from an Axis Bank?
If you see Axis Bank again, the business growth was not a concern. Even the last quarter, they reported very healthy loan growth, both on the corporate and retail side. The concern was basically higher slippages from the watch list. If you observe, they had initiated with a watch list of close to 22,000 crore, and last quarter it got reduced by almost 10%. So the key to watch would be the amount of slippages from this watch list this quarter. Last quarter, out of the 3,600 crores of slippages, almost 2,600 crores itself came from this watch list. Now, I believe that if they are able to recognize early and also resolve some of the assets, then possibly that will not be a concern. My own sense is that in terms of slippages, they might see little higher definitely compared to last quarter. It should be somewhere close to 4,500 crores of gross slippages. But I don't think that will be a really cause of concern, because already the management had indicated that out of the total watch list, almost 60% could fall into NPA over the next 8 quarters. So as long as the management is not changing the guidance that a substantially higher amount of slippages could happen from that watch list, then it will not be a point of worry to me. Now, coming back to that bottom line growth, as you said, my own sense is that possibly your bottom line had declined substantially last quarter, but I'm not expecting major decline this quarter. The reason being, other income should support this quarter. So my own estimate is that, while the street is divided that, possibly there will be a 15-20% decline, but my own sense is that, it will be limited to 3 to 4% kind of decline only for this quarter. And it will be largely supported by your other income. While credit cost will remain high, but I believe that, credit cost guidance for the management has been at best 150 basis point without considering the standard asset provisioning. So I believe that they will be able to maintain that guidance for the timing. So I'm not overly concerned about this asset quality problem for this quarter. If at all there is incremental addition to the watch list, that will be the key point to watch over. But I don't expect that to happen. And I believe if at all there is a negative reactions because of results, I think that would be a great time to enter for investors to the stock. We have a positive call on the stock as of the moment.
Right. Siddarth, on the watch list front, I think 22,000 crores was the watch list that was notified, and the slippages in the previous quarter close to 2,600, northwards of 2,600 crores. The SR redemption has impacted ICICI, Axis and SBI. Any impact that you see by way of that?
See, if you observe their total watch list, two sectors which were dominating the list were iron and steel and power. Right now, exact quantum it's difficult to say how much each of the bank has received. Now, as per media news, there is a substantial amount that all the banks has received from the SR group. So it's difficult to quantify, but certainly there will be improvement because a lot of accounts will get upgraded. Okay, but now what more than that, what I believe is that beyond this SR account and all, I'm not expecting that major negative things to happen. Already there has been a positive part factored in for ICICI Bank as well as for Axis as well as for SBI. So while it is difficult to quantify that how much amount has been received by each of the banks, but there is certainly some amount of funds that should flow into the large banks and heavyweight banks. So more or less, what I was trying to tell you that within the watch list there are a couple of sectors which had been dominating, like steel and power. So if the management is able to guide that possibly what they've been even saying that possibly now we are looking for more of a resolution. So if those accounts are being contained, then possibly may not see much amount of slippages coming in for the quarter. So there was a kind of negative view that earlier that much of maybe more than 60% what earlier management was guiding could slip into NPA. But my own sense is that possibly will not cross that 60% guidance, and if that is contained, then it will be a good take for the bank. So I'm not overly concerned about the asset quality for the time being, and yeah.
Right, Siddarth, very quickly before we let you go, just a word on Kotak Mahindra Bank as well. This has been one of, if not the most stable performers out there. Any surprises?
Yeah, Kotak, I don't have a coverage, so I'll not be able to comment on that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Siddarth, we'll leave it at that, but appreciate you speaking to us this morning. That's Siddarth Purohit talking about some of the key bank earnings that we're looking at today. But let's shift the focus to cues for trade. About 20 minutes to go before markets open today. Manas Jaiswal and Mohit Gaba are with us. Gentlemen, good morning. Manas, let me start with you. Held on to 8,700 in trade yesterday, watching out for expiry.